All right, alrighty. Hello, everyone. I guess who's ready for the demo then?
I can start.
Awesome.
Let's share my screen. And I apologize ahead of time if my screen is going very, very slow in the background.
No worries.
All right, let's get rid of this. All right, so this week, me and Christina were tasked with sorting the shopping items by by urgency. So there were four categories that we had to label all the items in our list with. One of them is overdue, soon, kind of soon, not soon, and inactive. An active would kind of hit the label if it had been over 60 days since an item was purchased. An overdue would be, let's say I was set to buy an item yesterday and today's the 24th. Then let's say Apple, if it fell under that category, it'd be labeled under overdue. So we ended up using Firestore to query the shopping list to get all the items into alphabetical order. So since all these overdue items are kind of in that same urgency label of overdue, that's why you kind of see everything in alphabetical order right here. So after we were able to query that, then we also were able to sort it based on how many days that the user is supposed to buy that item. So if I were to open this up in the Firestore and compare all of the days until purchase for all these items, we would see it going in ascending order from least starting at the top and greatest going towards the end. So for this sample shopping list, we have overdue items coming up first. That was in like the criteria for acceptance criteria. And then we kind of run into the soon items right here. And kind of soon, not soon, I only have one item in this list, and then pumpkin as inactive. So it's been greater than 60 days. And that's pretty much it. And then in order to get the label to actually appear in the list items, we passed a prop called urgency. So if it fell under the category of like 7 days, 30 days, or 60 days, that urgency prop of overdue, soon, all the way to inactive would go to the list item component and then render this label underneath each item. And that's pretty much it. Any questions from anybody?
I remember it was really challenging to us as well, this task. So awesome, awesome work. And also at the beginning, Tila and Satoshi was supposed to work on this. And yeah, thank you for your support. And everybody's so collaborative. And I think this is awesome. Did you say you use you sorted right in Firebase instead of like sorting? Oh, that's awesome. Can you sh
Yeah,
can you show me
yeah,
the code that you
yeah.
did?
Here,
Yeah.
let me change my screen here. Oh, how do I do it from here? Let's see. Oh, here we go. New
That
share.
was a really awesome feature that she implemented because every time I was trying to sort it, we were like breaking the filter.
Hmm.
So it was really awesome.
And then I don't know if anybody saw in like the stack or the Slack, sorry, not the stack, about the best practice of not having child components render underneath the parent. So I tested that on Friday and I removed it as like a side note from the parent list component, and it was working fine from when I tested it. And then this morning I opened it up and it broke. And I was like, why is this happening? So I just put it exactly how it was before. So I don't know why that is. So that's a little side note. But here it is. I don't know if you can see like the query right here in the code.
Mhm.
So using the query method from Firestore, it queries all of the list items or the collection reference of each list, and then it orders it by name. And then order by will automatically put it into alphabetical order.
Mm.
And then to get it to sort by the days until purchase, then we use the sort method for arrays. And then typically like the pattern is like A minus B, we'll put it in ascending order. But if we put B minus A, it would put it in descending order. Um, and so I think that's it. Any questions about like the query method or
That's awesome. How did you find it? Like reading documentations?
reading
Mm.
documentation? And then like I stumbled upon this like Firestore list that had like if you want to sort by the following like example criteria. So I just was like scrolling through that and saw that like
Mm.
you could query by name and how it would put it alphabetical order. So that's how I learned about that. Because at first, me and Christina were trying to do it like manually, like in JavaScript. And then I was like, wait, we have Firestore methods. I thought about it afterwards for a while. And that's when I saw like the query and order by thing.
Mm, that's awesome.
Yeah, when I saw the code, I think it's a good idea to sort alphabetically first. In that way, you don't need to care about the alphabetic order, even you sort the day until purchase.
Hmm.
Hey, yeah.
Thanks. Any other questions?
No? Yeah, awesome job. Cool. Satoshi or Tila?
I don't know,
Um,
Tila, you want to do or
Sure, I can do it. So I was just not sure if
okay.
something weird is going on right now with our Fire store. I was
I
just
broke it.
opening. You broke it
Sorry.
again?
I broke it this morning when I realized that the use effect was not working the way that I intended, even though it worked fine on Friday. So I ended up plugging in the alternative database config in order to see what was happening. So I can drop in the chat what that is. So I apologize about that.
Oh, but
Gotcha. Okay, that makes
I
Here.
tried to delete and it worked just 20 minutes ago.
So
right now I'm getting an error that I can't even connect to the Fire store
Oh, let's
to
see
even
what
do.
will happen on my end.
so if you go to the config file and you just replace it with the one that is in the
It's
Mine
chat.
seems to be working.
mine's working.
Yeah, mine too.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure.
On the
Uh,
main branch, you guys are?
Hmm. Hmm.
Weird.
Well, I'm using the our pull request preview. I can share the screen.
Okay, yeah, would you mind, Satoshi? Thanks.
Yeah,
Not sure what's going on for me.
it's already shared.
Yep, I can see your
Yep,
screen.
we can.
Okay. So then I explain. We implemented the delete function to delete the item from the Fire store. And we first made the delete button and then implement the delete function in the Firebase file. And also the task require to make a confirmation from the user on delete. So when you click the delete button, you see the pop-up. Are you sure you want to delete this item? Cancel or okay. If you click on the cancel, it doesn't happen, just cancel the delete operation. And then if you okay, the function, the delete function works, and then the item will be deleted from the Firestore, and then it's reflecting on the shopping list page. Yeah, that's very small task, so we finished very quickly, like within 40 minutes or so. Yeah, thanks for the cooperation, Christine and Ismari. It helps us a lot. Yeah, that's
Just so you
our
know,
demo.
on my end, it is letting me delete things, but I do get the error in the console log from Firebase saying that we've met our quota. So it's allowing us to delete it, but it's not doing it on the back end, which is odd.
Oh,
I don't
my,
know if it's not showing it in yours, but I do get the same error message.
hmm, I don't know how it works, but it's working here. Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Yeah, any questions? Well,
Nice little feature. It's important to have that delete functionality. Awesome. Any questions?
I kind of had a random question. I came across semantic icons. I know in the past they had said something about not using icons because of screen readers and stuff like that. I just was curious how much you had heard or used semantic icons in the past. If you had used them, I don't know if it's a fairly new thing. I found a website that did it and I had linked it out in a comment. Just as we move forward, if we decided to use any icons or anything like that, um, if you had had any experience using them, where they're like accessible. I'll
Yeah,
share the.
this is my first time heard the term. Let me see.
Let me see. I had commented and left the little link. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, sorry. I'll find it and I'll share it.
Yeah, let's do red on this. I'm interested in learning more about that too.
Oh, I found it. Here, let's share it in the chat.
Oh,
Yeah, it basically has like a little special tag on it, a little eye
yeah,
tag that is read by screen readers, I guess.
yeah. This is cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Especially we're going to styling this week. We'll definitely talk about it more. Cool. I think we're ready for our rituals this week. One moment, let me share my screen. Cool. I think by now everybody should know what we need to do here now. Let's see, what time is it? Yeah, we still have time. So let's spend maybe like 7 to 8 minutes on this. And then we'll come back and then we'll share our shout out. Cool. Feel free to, turn off your screen if you feel like you need to concentrate. I'll pause recording for now.
Hey, Yufa, has this week 7 retro been added to our
Yeah, that's what I was
project?
going to ask.
It doesn't look like it has.
Oh,
To our
Alejandro,
repo.
yeah, Alejandro actually did this on
Huh,
his phone. Probably
that might be the issue.
yeah, that might be why.
Yeah, this is the link I have. It's like it looks like under the org for some reason. Yeah, it must be mobile weirdness.
I see. Can we move this somehow?
Yes, I'm wondering.
Yeah,
So,
settings,
um, copy.
copy as a template. Yeah, I can't really choose a. Well, let's.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, I'll figure out to move this somewhere. Maybe copy as template. I did try that. Let me figure this out really quick.
Oh, I might have figured it out. We'll find out. Let me see if this does the trick.
All right. Start with appreciations. Christina.
Thank you. Sorry. I really appreciated Satoshi's patience with me on the prediction ticket. I had a hard time wrapping my head around the timing. There was a lot of just different aspects to consider, and he was extremely patient and understanding with me on that. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Satoshi.
Awesome. Danielle?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I guess shout out to everyone for being really good, just for asking for help when you need it. I know sometimes that can be a challenging thing to do, especially when you are, amongst a group of people that you only met 5 weeks ago. Well, I guess 7 weeks ago. But yeah, great job, everyone.
Crazy how time just flew by. Awesome. Tila.
Yeah, just wanted to say I really appreciated Christina and Ismari's flexibility last week around switching tickets. Just a big thanks again for your help there.
Yep. Awesome. Satoshi. Yeah, similar. Still worth a shout out, Satoshi.
You're on mute. We can't hear you. I see your mouth moving, but we can't hear you.
I can hear you typing.
I think it might be a sound issue.
You want to come back for you? Oh, we'll come back for you, Satoshi. I remember. Let me know when you're ready, okay? Okay, Christina.
Yeah, I really appreciate Ismari's work in researching the docs and finding that method for us to sort our data alphabetically. And so that was really helpful. Thank you.
Alrighty, Ismari.
Just wanted to kind of have like a shout out and thank you for everyone being patient with me breaking the our Firestore again. Honestly, like when testing the use effect, like the way that it exponentially, like I guess like generates the errors just happened so fast within like a 10-second span. It was like I blinked and then like it like broke. So I promise next time I'll be a lot more careful with the use effects from now on. They're tricky.
Yeah. And you said like 25% of the team broke it before? No worries. It's okay to break things. It's okay. Yeah, just don't do it again in the future. We learn and then that's how we learn. No worries. Yeah, it's just been kind of the theme here. It's been amazing to see how collaborative and kind everybody is. Especially like when we're asking for help and then everybody just jump in. Cool. Agree, Danielle. Satoshi, you ready?
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Oh, that's good.
Let's go back. Yep.
Oh yeah. So I was talking myself like, yeah, same as Tina, so you can skip me. Thanks.
No worries. Thank you. We need to hear everyone. So, where was I? Oh, here. Tila.
Yeah, last week when we were working together, Satoshi had researched the delete doc function from Firestore, so he came prepared for our session, which I really appreciated. So we could just kind of hit the ground running.
Nice, nice. It's me again. So I know it's Mary and Christina, the sorting issue is really difficult. And I mentioned like this was a challenging ticket for my peer scoop. So really awesome job finishing it up. And also stretch goal too. So awesome work. Oh, another one. It was great to see how active we're asking questions and problem solving in the Slack. And just awesome to see everyone, how involved everyone is when debugging. Cool. Okay, let's move on to what went well. Danielle?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think it was this Mari, just whipping out those credentials real quick for the new database for folks to test. Thanks for getting that set up.
Yeah. Awesome problem-solving skills.
Thank you. I saw that Andrew had commented on our Coda issue, and that's when I went ahead and created the alternative one. So in case it ever happens again with our main one, hitting the quota, then we got that test one as a backup. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
And you learned how to set it up in Firebase.
Yeah.
That's a plus.
I feel like everyone is Firebase Pro now. Cool. Tila?
Yeah, I think we've all been doing a really good job communicating on Slack when these issues kind of have come up.
Mhm. Nice job. And Satoshi?
Yeah, this week pair programming went really smooth, and I feel everyone get used to pair programming over the Slack or phone. Yeah, I feel good about it, and big progress for us.
Yeah. Sounds great. Okay, what could be improved, Christina?
Yeah, I'm not actually sure if this is the right way of going about it, but I was trying to think about ways to like avoid that in the future, like having us reach our quota, if maybe adding the console logs. I know in the past I've done that, but it was also like on solo projects and I don't know if there's a better way of trying to catch those errors, but in the future it might be nice to add a couple console logs inside our use effects so we can kind of see how many times it's re-rendering or something like that. And the other one's mine too. So I guess I'll do the other one. I noticed that on some of the tickets, like this ticket that Tila and I got, I'm trying to remember, this was like 3 weeks ago, when we were working on updating the dates. It didn't specifically state like where we should be adding, like we should be using the update function. Actually, I'm trying to remember exactly how it was that we ended up adding it in list items or in list. But anyways, it didn't specifically say where we should be using it. But then when Satoshi and I were working on our ticket, it did specifically, the acceptance criteria specifically stated that it needed to be in the Firebase JS doc. And so I feel like if we could either not have it explicitly stated in the acceptance criteria or have it explicitly stated every single time, it might help us not have kind of like messy code. It might help our readability, because I found Satoshi and I were kind of wishing that Tila and I had written it in Firebase JS. And I think even Ishmari and I still got like the tailwind of it with this tickets issue. So it was just kind of an interesting thing to see that in some of the tickets we're mentioning like specifically where it needs to be done. And while that can be helpful if it's not across the board consistent, I think it can cause like a little bit of extra work. I don't know if Satoshi and Ishmari and Tila feel the same way. It was just something I noticed.
Tila's nodding.
Yeah, the ticket should mention where the update function written, and it will be easier for us, I think.
Yeah, I'll definitely let the team know. I know we are also in the process of revamping the program, so that would be a great place to talk about this and add and make things more consistent at least. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Action items. I don't mind, it's kind of right in the corner. Can you see? I hope you can see. Christina?
Yeah. So this was just kind of something I thought about as we were looking at the code, that it might be nice to have like a little modal for our pop-up. Again, something we can discuss as a team, but just an idea so it doesn't have, and maybe there's a way of removing that, but where it says at the beginning with our app, it gives like the entire name of our app in the alert. And so I thought it might be like a kind of a cleaner look. Maybe there's a way to remove that and just keep it an alert like that. I didn't research that, but I thought it might be kind of neat to have just a modal pop up with the little alerts that we have.
Yeah. Maybe this is something you want to work on for the next 2 weeks. But again, there's so many things you can work on, so
True.
it's tricky. I know, it's tricky. Tila?
Yeah, so my comment here, add miscellaneous items to our project board for tracking. We have kind of like a handful of these ideas that we've thrown out now for things we wanted to come back to. And I was just thinking if we had one place to kind of see all of them, it would help track and probably prioritize over our next couple weeks.
Cool. What we can do is like, I know everybody probably has a list. We can just like dump everything and then create a board, can add it to the project board that we have. Yeah, let's work on this on Slack, and then we can just put everything there. That's a great idea. Cool, Satoshi.
Oh yeah. To get out of the shopping list, we need some button to remove the token from the local storage.
You remove token button.
Yeah, because we're always
Yeah.
going into the local storage and like clearing it to join another list, and the user's not going to do that. So I like that.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very annoying.
Yep. That can be also on the board. Is Mary?
Just had another board idea. Not board as in board, but board. So like on the list page, I guess maybe like above like where all the items are like rendering, we could say like your shopping list is like for my shopping list, it's like that resoners. It's just so like the user knows like the name of their token for their shopping list so that if they want to come back to it, they already have the name right there. So that was all.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's true, because otherwise they cannot share the shopping list with anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Good
a really
idea.
good point. I didn't think about not knowing how to come back to it because you don't know the name.
Yeah, those are great ideas. I think that we can transition perfectly to really next 2 weeks agenda.
How
Danielle?
difficult. I'm sorry. I was just wondering how difficult it is to like add an alias. That's probably like an overstretching thing, and we'd probably something we don't have time for, but Novo Soon Snag doesn't make much sense as a list name, but it does make sense as a token. So like if we think about displaying those things, how easy or difficult is it to like create aliases where they can kind of name again future where they can kind of name their own list, but still have that token in the back end? Just kind of at random. I've never worked with aliases, so I was curious if that's difficult, if anybody's worked on that before. No,
Yeah, there's probably a
I'll do
few
some
ways you
research.
could do that, like have a lookup table or yeah, I'd have to think about it a little bit more. But yeah, there's definitely a few ways you could go about that. If you want like a user-facing name versus like the back-end name. It's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share now. I think. Okay, cool. So you should be looking at issue 13, which is our last issue. It's the moment you all have been waiting for. So we've kind of been teasing this a little bit, so this hopefully shouldn't be too much of a shock to y'all. But the last 2 weeks will be a little different. We're going to have you self-organize. If you need some guidance from mentors for how to organize, we can definitely help out there. But ideally, the 4 of you would all self-organize because you'll need to make decisions together as a whole team. So down here in this design process section. Oh, yeah, I guess I should back up. Last 2 weeks will be spent designing the website to make it look and feel the way that you want it to do. And yeah, we have a recommended design process here. You don't have to follow it if you don't want to. But my biased take on this is reading through it, it seems like a pretty good approach. Kind of generally how people in the real world, so to say, do it. And we also have a familiar friend here. So I think that's what Christina just linked.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just realized that was there right now. But yeah, some recommended frameworks if you want to use them. I believe someone had recommended like a dialogue framework. Use whatever you all as a group think works well. And then, yeah, one other thing that I would recommend is, I think Yufa kind of hinted at this, but like, as you're talking about what you want to do, these issues are your issues. So feel free to like make an issue. Because yeah, in the real world, personally, I tend to prefer when people create a ticket and like assign it to themselves, because then, especially if you're working remote, you can kind of see who's working on what and if you might potentially step on each other's toes. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say about this. Do you have anything else to add, Yufa?
Yeah, I would recommend for the group to meet together as early as possible. Just talk about like, the scope and how you want to organize it. Like you only have 2 weeks. So think about the priorities and kind of choose the route, meaning like, you want to use Bootstrap, or right? You want to use like semantic UI, just to choose, make a decision. And yeah, I think it's the toughest thing is just decide the scope and then divide up the work. You can definitely continue to work on as a pair, or if you feel like, okay, you want to work on something individually, that's great too. And Daniel pointed out a great suggestion is write a ticket so you know who's working on what. And also you can go back and review, right, what you did. So yeah. Um, the good thing is I think we have a really design mentor if you want to. Mark is the lead design at Apple. So if you want him to review or somehow to help out, you can definitely reach out. I'll share his Calendly link with you. My suggestion is go as a group. He only has like limited time, so go as a group and then ask questions or review whatever you did. He probably will ask you tough questions. I met him like about design. Have a customer in mind, like who are you trying to serve, right? Like that's pretty tough to think about. Why do you want to make it this way, right? Sometimes he asks you, why do you make buttons this color? You'd be like, it looks nice. Probably not a good answer. Um, but just like, having a holistic view of what are we serving and why are we making the button, the color it is or the shape it is or accessibility, right? So yeah, he's available during the weekend. So let me share his Calendly. I think 2 to 4. Yeah, 2 to 4 Pacific time, PM. Yeah.
Just to pick your brain a little bit about that. When he's thinking about colors, is he thinking more about like industry standards color with like button theory, or is this more of like accessibility colors? Because I know that's a completely different
Yeah.
like ball game.
I do think you need to consider both. I would say
Yeah.
like if the colors, if the background and the text are accessible, I think you need to consider both.
Mhm.
But really having like why we do the things, I think that's where he wants you to go. And he will like challenge you to for that too. Like the way
Okay.
he asked me, I was like, oh, I don't know, because I this is a design I like. Not a good approach. But yeah, so which
Yeah,
is
I feel
why I
like
want to chat with them. Yeah, which is why I want to chat with them before like, okay, yeah, having a professional look at it is helpful.
Yeah, I feel like anecdotally, I've worked with a lot of founders, early stage startups, and a lot of times it is like they want you to build the thing for them that they want. And like being on the receiving end of that as like a dev can be a little like disillusioning, because it's like, okay, this is great for you and for people like you, but like if we want this to actually be a sustainable business, like, yeah, you definitely need to think about, who you're targeting. And, unfortunately, the nature of business is you need to make money. So it's like, how can you make that money? That startup's still around. So good for them.
Hmm.
But yeah, I was a little concerned,
Well,
like, being as like, am I going to get a
that's
paycheck?
luck, I would say. Pure luck.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just interesting to talk about like the end to end, from design to like having a really like idea come true, like to reality. And that approach is always it's challenging, but at the same time, I think it's helpful. As as a product designer, as engineer, everybody involved.
Do we still have like a weekly sync next week?
Yep.
And do we have like certain things that are due by then, or just we don't have anything due till like technically speaking, the 2 weeks are up?
Great question. You can choose really. Like if you feel like, okay, I need this week to just, idealize things and then get things on track, and then you can do that. Or you can just like focus on a couple of things this week and then do a PR review, the same rhythm that we've been having. Really up to you this last 2 weeks. We want to emphasize. I know it's like, oh, okay. What does it mean?
We are
Yeah.
doing demos next week though, right? So they should have
Yeah,
something
we
that's
still
like
have we still have
semi,
demos, but
yeah.
I would say like whatever you're working on, you don't have to do a PR. We didn't really do a PR for the my last group didn't really do a PR for the first week. We did like we pushed everything out the last week. Because it's actually pretty challenging to having a consensus of like, okay, here's what we're doing and divide up the work. It takes some time too. Um, so that's why I want to encourage you to meet as early as possible, this week, and then just talk about the scope and how we want to work on things. Yeah, just choose your priorities. I know you have 2 weeks, but sounds pretty ambitious, but sometimes you don't really have that much time. Yeah. So yeah, next week we'll still have demos. We actually invited Andrew to do our accessibility learning module for next week, so that will be fun. He's very knowledgeable on that front, so please prepare for any questions. And then yeah, so learning modules. I think those two things, right? And then for next weekend, you can schedule some time with Mark, the lead design at Apple, which I will share the Calendly link. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I'm on office hours duty this week. So I was gonna do that Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific. So, and I'll remind you all in Slack if you have any questions about anything or just want to talk about your pets. That works too.
Or you're like, okay, we need some help. That's great too. Like I know, like talking about things, deciding a scope is difficult. It's really hard.
Yeah, that could be good
Yeah.
too. Sounding board to get
Yeah.
opinions on scope creep, because I think that'll be the biggest challenge, because it's a lot that you can do, but it's just 2 weeks. So
Yeah. And for me, I still struggle with like estimate how much time I need for each tasks. So I would recommend always be conservative about the time you need, like give more time. It's always helpful. Yeah. Because you never know what kind of challenges you will encounter while you're working on it. And I'll be reviewing any PRs if you have any this week. So yeah, just keep us posted. Let us know, right, once you finish that meeting. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Yeah, please ask questions.
I wanted to share a heads up. The next 2 Sundays, I actually am not available for our group meeting. I have out of town trips both weekends that have been planned for a while. But I'll be around to obviously help. Just won't be here for those demos.
Okay. You missed the final demos then. Oh.
I know. Yeah, I thought I would be able to be around for that last one, but since it ended up being 9 Sundays of meetings, I counted wrong. And that last one I'm not here for.
Yeah. No worries. We'll definitely send you the recording. And yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, any questions so far? I know like you just want to think about things and then ask questions. That's great too. Let me create a tasks thread on Slack so you can just dump everything there.
I have a quick
yeah.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you had in your previous group, around what time of like your 2 weeks did you actually schedule your record or your meeting with Mark? Like, did you already kind of have like a layout as far as like what you've already built already, or was it like before you kind of like solidified like any like concrete styles when you had like your meeting with him?
This is actually new. We didn't have anyone to
Oh,
review. Yeah. So this is also is optional. I know like we have a lot of constraint, right? We have 2 weeks, and then if you want Mark's input, then you need to push all the design and styling probably for the first week. I know it's a lot. So again, please utilize him. You feel like it's helpful, but if you feel like it's too much, that's okay too. Totally optional.
okay.
Have some like high fives for him or something to see.
Or if you like really curious about,
References.
oh, your design process, that's great too. He's always open to mentorship. He's a huge advocate for mentorship. So cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I guess that's all for now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have questions, but that's great. Better question. We need more better questions in the world. So go for it. And really try to have fun. I know it's right now you probably don't know like a lot of things once you chat, but once you chat, then you probably will have a lot of questions. And have fun is the most important thing. Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool.
Alrighty. Yep.
Do the four of us want to maybe try and find a time that works for all of us while we're all here?
I think
If
I'm
we
like,
want to go that route of like having one meeting to kind of get all on the same page to start.